I came here, I started from 105. It's like 1.5 years ago, but at that time the course didn't have any Penguin readers, so I didn't know there was a library in Edmonton, and I tried to I tried to find some books to read and do something to learn English, to read books, because I didn't read books for 6 months since I came here. Then when I was 115, they bought the Penguin readers to make us read and learn language better. And when I get the book, I was so enthusiastic, so I read 11 books in that level. Yeah, and this was the first time that the course was giving us these books. Then, they decided to give some present to person who is the most reader in the course, and I got the present because of that. But yeah, I don't read too much in this course, and also I'm reading that kind of novels. I said I'm so interested in reading classics, and now I'm getting. I read every classic in Turkish. Not every, most of them. Like for example, I read all of Charles Dickens' book in Turkish and every other book, kind of. And now I'm trying to get them in English. Like Madame Bovary I have, and Tom Sawyer I have, and also Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist I have, that kind of books. And I want to read them in original language, because when you're translating in Turkish, the culture of the book is changing, kind of. It's, it's really making me read a lot of books. I don't know why. It's not to improve my language, just because I want. I want it. How did I start it? I started with my father. As I told you, I didn't like to read books. Then I learned these statistics. My father told me that also when I was like 10 years old. My mother took me to a room in our house, and he gave me a book, and he said, read it. And I read it. I couldn't stop. 5 days we read together, and after 5 days, my father told me that I want to be late and read yourself. Get in front of a mirror and read yourself. And I read it. Really, I like it. This is my style, because when you're reading book, I'm thinking like that. I don't know, is anybody a person like that? But when I'm reading books, the director of the movie is you. Like nobody else can control your imagination. And you have to get in your book, and you have to be the same part with your book, and just reading. When I'm reading when I'm reading one page in 10 seconds, I don't read the letters. I just, I saw the pictures on the page. I don't know how. This is in Turkish, but I want to do that in English. Yeah, that's why I really like to read books. Yeah. Any questions?
I have a question. So you like to read books, you like to read classics. Where can you find free available classics to read? Lists of classics, and where can you find them?
The classics?
So you like classics. Now, some of them, you have to understand too, some of the classics would be hard for native speakers to read because the language is very different. I've got you though, the stories are great. Some of them, Oliver Twist would be great. But where can you find lists of the classics?
Actually, I don't know how to find lists. In my country,
there's a list of all the classics you would possibly want to read right there.
Oh yeah, and also you can
download any of them and read them on your own. Right there. That's so.
I had an iPhone. Really, I had an iPhone, and when I saw the bookstore application, and I downloaded, and I found every kinds of book. And it's, without paying money, you can have that also in the internet. And, where did I learn those books? Are in my country, we have a literature lesson, and we have to memorize all of the authors in the world. Like, not all, and most famous authors in the world. Like in American literature, British, France, Russian, and I read every kinds of like Chinese. We are learning different kind of literatures. And
you guys should look for, even search the internet. The internet's a great source, right? You can search the internet for lists of books, recommended books for, what grade do you think you should be reading now? No, grade 12 is way too hard. The average Canadian reads on an 8th grade level. The average native speaker Canadian reads on an 8th grade level. Think about that, okay? So when you're talking, it's really interesting if you look at the language and there's a computer program, I'm not going to go into it too much, but talking about some of the very complex languages, it registers at about a 12th grade level, okay? So, but if you go online and search for lists, probably I would say about 7th grade, and those are very difficult. Some books that you might look at, The Scarlet Letter is a great story. I don't know if you've read that before, but it's an excellent story. Dracula. How many of you have read Dracula? Frankenstein. Those are great stories, just great stories that we read. Dracula is also on the list for books here at the university, in addition to high school books too. I mean, if that makes you, some people want to read books that they feel at a higher level. Macbeth. Now Macbeth is a tricky one because Macbeth would be very hard, but they do have other versions of Macbeth so that they would be easier to understand. Definitely would have to read. The story is amazing, but the language would be way too tough. Even for native speakers, it's very difficult. But the other ones that are written at another level, like the reader of Macbeth, would be perfect, interesting, classic, great. And access. You have access to all of these, right? And I keep saying for people who get sick, like you get sick on the bus, you can only read for 20 minutes. So what can he do? He can download, he can read it, and then if he's looking at it, he can also go to the audio book and then listen to it. So for example, he might be listening, reading Dracula, and then he could simply, I'm getting sick, start listening to Dracula, where he left off. Listen to part of it, read part of it. An app that you can do that through, by the way, just to let you know, is FreeBooks. You can also go online without an Apple iPad to the LibriVox recordings. LibriVox. Search for that. Search LibriVox. Everyone write that down, please. LibriVox recordings. Those are free online recordings by people. Just about every book you can imagine.
How spell?
I honestly don't know. But you can search it.
what was that?
LibriVox.
How to spell it?
I don't know. I don't know how to spell it, but I assume LibraVox. I could be wrong. Search that and Google will tell you. I've only heard the name LibriVox.
What's the program you're using?
And also, what do you think about listening books, not reading books?
Listening book?
Yeah, listening books.
I mean audiobook?
I fall asleep after 2 minutes with
Listening
books, yes.
No, you're also listening books, right?
I can.
What do you think?
I like them. I love them for car trips. I'm going to drive to Indiana soon. That's a long trip. It's about 4 days, and I'll listen to books all the way there. So,
Where can you find to listen to books?
if you want books on tape, all you have to do is search the public library. They have an amazing collection. In addition to that, search LibriVox recordings online. Search LibriVox and you'll be able to find, I imagine, she's very detailed, isn't she?
Are you happy now? Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys.
Next person? I want to just check. See, that's
What did you just?
How's the record of?
No.
Okay, guys, who's next?